Welcome back to the Matt Borger Show. So today I want to react to a video that I found recently from Andrew Bustamante, and he's really cool. He's a really cool dude. And yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea if I actually reacted to this video here because it's a really good one for sure. I think I could add a couple of things to it, and yeah, let's get into it.
Right.
Okay.
I am staunchly working towards getting my children and my family out of the United States because I want them to have opportunities that I want my family to have that simply don't exist inside the United States anymore, because the United States is on this path towards self-destruction.
So I've been feeling this for a couple of years now for sure. Probably like a few years after COVID, that things have significantly changed in the United States. And a lot of people started to leave. And there's probably, I mean, everyone has personal reasons for that. But with the rise of remote work and then all the combination of that, and also the fact that things have gotten so expensive in the United States, people started to realize, hey, actually, this is not a good deal anymore. And you cannot really blame Americans for deciding to go abroad, to live abroad, to become digital nomads, live somewhere else. And it's not only Americans; it's also, you know, all types of people, right? If you watch any videos about Bali, you'll see there's plenty of other nationalities living in Bali as well, not only Americans, Brits, Australians, that sort of thing. But then the question that we need to ask is, why is it happening? How come that the system has become so unfair with some people that they decided that actually living outside of the United States is a better idea, it's a smarter idea, it's a more cost effective idea, even if it comes at the cost of some of the conveniences of the United States, right? Maybe the culture is different, but hey, maybe you're into different cultures and you really don't mind. Maybe you really want to learn another language. And then because of that, you're completely fine with living somewhere else, living in Europe, living in Southeast Asia, not a problem. But previously, what we've seen is that people wanted to move to the United States, right? And people were quite happy to stay in the United States. And then, yeah, sure, like sometimes, like what happens, like some people leave, like that's normal, right? However, there's definitely a lot of people who start to move out. And that is concerning because what you're saying, what that means is that people are not happy with their current conditions and they're looking to change that. And unfortunately, if someone has the American spirit of pioneering, moving ahead, making things happen, you cannot really blame someone whose, I don't know, ancestors moved to the West Coast and looked for gold, or moved on a freaking ship for several months to the United States in order to provide better opportunities for their kids and grandkids and so on. So we're talking about the ancestors of the people who actually made that sacrifice for their families, right? So in a sense, people are actually doing the exact same thing with their kids, but things have gotten reversed. And actually, people want to leave the United States now because things have gone so expensive. The system has become too unfair. And when people don't have the opportunity for upward mobility anymore, and they don't feel that if they put effort in, they're going to get ahead and their lives are going to be better, people are going to check out. People are going to be more than willing to move abroad. And they won't care about whether they're patriotic or not. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is how much money you have in your wallet by the end of the month. If there's not a lot of money left and you have the opportunity to move somewhere else, I would say that 9 out of 10 will say, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to make that move because it's going to be so much better for me. So, yeah, I'm not surprised he's saying this. And I'm also not surprised that he feels this way because this has been in the air for some time now, right? Let's say you're coming from a lower income or middle class family, and maybe you cannot start a business because you just don't have like 40K lying somewhere, right? Okay, whatever. So you're just gonna, you decided to learn something that is a valuable skill on the market, and then you are going to sell your time. And if you do well, and obviously the company that you're working for appreciates you, then you're gonna, after a couple of years, you could get promoted, you're gonna make more money, and then you're gonna start moving up the ladder. And then if you have entrepreneurial tendencies, maybe at some point you're gonna decide, you know what, actually, I would like to start a business. I'm going to quit that job. Now, that cycle is gone for a lot of people. And it's not even a skill set issue. I think there's a lot of moving parts here. I think a lot of American tech companies started to put brakes in, and those brakes are, so let's say if you have skills, you know, you're looking to get into a field where you can start a business relatively cheap, right? And so let's say you're going to start an online business for that matter. And then if the online platforms are limiting you in growth, then we're looking at like we have a problem. And that's basically what we're looking at here. So even if you work online and work remotely, maybe you're not going to be able to have access to the information required to make the right moves. So maybe you're going to linger around the 40, 50, 60K mark, and you're going to stay there for a long time because you're not going to get promoted. Maybe someone's going to hold your location against you. That can happen as well. So there's a lot of moving parts here. That's how I feel. And this is an important conversation to have, because if we don't have this conversation and if we just let the whole thing go, then things are going to get even worse. And I think things are getting worse. Things are not like the way they were before. Opportunities are significantly more scarce. So people are checking out. People actually remove themselves from the market. They're not looking for jobs. There aren't that many businesses started, and the whole thing can really spiral out of control if we don't do something about it.
It's so scary.
So on that, not complete destruction, but we are creating more pain for ourselves, and that is going to go on for years before we all agree that this pain sucks and we turn the corner and come back up again.
You say this is gonna get way.
Yeah, because here's the problem, right? It doesn't suck for everyone in the United States. It's not like it's a pain fest and everyone's lives just suck balls. Like that's not entirely true, right? Some people are doing well, but not everyone. And that's a problem, because the whole idea behind the American dream and primarily why people move to the United States, they're looking for upward mobility. That's what they want. That's what most people desire, because that's what the United States have promised for several years, that if you make the right moves, if you have a valuable skill, eventually you are going to be able to hit your revenue goals, and you're going to have a comfortable life. And that is all going away because things are getting heavily regulated, probably just as much as things in the EU, right? And sure, maybe we could argue, well, not by that much. Yeah, like everything is getting heavily regulated, and it's not really good because the whole idea is with fewer regulations, there's more flexibility for making things happen. If everything is too regulated, you're being suffocated. So, yes, there's not enough pain yet, but the pain is coming. And the pain is going to increase exponentially, and a couple of years down the road, people are going to go, you know what? I should have moved as well, right? Because yeah, there are fewer and fewer opportunities, and that causes a lot of it's building up a lot of frustration in people, right? And they're looking for better alternatives. They're looking for more extreme alternatives, and usually more often than not, what happens when people when people actually tap into more extreme alternatives, that can create unintended consequences that might be very difficult to reverse.
It has to get worse. It has to get worse before it gets better. We're not even at the low, right? Think about what comes after Donald Trump. Think about, are we going to
100%.
swing to the other side again?
Go
So something that people need to realize is that whoever is going to come after Trump, that person is going to carry with him some of the economic policies that Trump has introduced. It's going to happen. The same way Biden retained some of the tariffs that Trump implemented in his first term. So people, more often than not, there's not going to be a 180-degree switch. That never happens. So some of the aspects of the Trump administration is going to get carried over. There's nothing we can do about it. It's going to happen. But then the question is, what is going to happen? Is it going to be, as Andrew said, like a massive swing, and then we're going to go from, what Trump is doing right now to something extreme left? Is that what people want? Probably not, because a lot of people were not happy with woke culture. So what's going to be the alternative? Well, Trump's second term has happened already, right? So what comes next is really a question, but yeah, there's a lot of question marks here that need to get addressed. And if things go unaddressed, yeah, it's going to look very interesting.
AOC.
Or are we going to swing further to the right because people are going to be that much? What happens next? You think right now sucks? You've been down this path before, America. You know what happens when Donald Trump's in the White House. You have no idea who's going to get elected next. And will that be a 1 or a 2-term
Exactly.
president? Because that's 8 more years of your life, right? Or
And a lot can happen in 8 years. I mean, think about COVID. That was the whole ordeal took a good few years, but some people were like, that was someone's like high school years, a lot of people's high school years, and that defined their entire adolescence. So whoever is going to come next, it doesn't matter whether it's going to be someone from the left or the right, it's going to have a lasting impact, and it's the person is going to carry over Trump's legacy one way or another, whether we like it or not.
will it be another 4 years on, 4 years off, 4 years in, 4 years out?
Uh-huh.
We don't have any idea, but all indicators show that America is on the decline. The US dollar is on the decline. Our sphere of influence is on the decline, right? We have plenty of strength still in us, but we're not willing to unlock it. We're not willing to tap into it, right? There's plenty of indicators that show that we're getting better, right? There are more young people who are willing to adopt or even consider a conservative point of view in addition to a liberal point of view. That means there's more centrists from younger generations.
I 100% agree here. And also to his previous point, let me
There are
just go
more young
back.
people, right? Strength still in us.
So I feel the issue we're facing right now is that a lot of times Americans forget that there's there's a lot of things very unique about the United States. And I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the people and the culture, right? Some things are being uniquely done, and some of those things have made the United States we know today. But then many times, I think Americans take those things for granted. For example, I feel Americans are less risk averse compared to Europeans. And also, people are more open minded on average, which pretty much leads to Americans are more willing to try things from a social perspective, from a cultural perspective. And that actually defines how a lot of other countries operate based on what has been tried in the United States from an experimental standpoint. So I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, that American culture has had a major impact on other countries. And I'd say that impact is still there. And people still look up to the United States in a lot of ways. And when people see that there are so many problems in the States, that creates chaos everywhere else. Because since a lot of the things are modeled after, like media and a lot of other things are modeled after um, how they were developed in the United States, there's, I think the confusion has already started, right? And I do agree that there could be so many things that the US could do better, but people don't go all in on the things that are actually working significantly better in the United States. And I feel the primary reason for that is because people don't realize perhaps how unique and different some of the skill sets Americans have. And I think some people just kind of sit on it, right? Just kind of chill with it. And they could do it. They have the market, and like everything is kind of there to make things happen better, but it's not being done. Whereas in other countries, that might not be the case. Even if someone wants to go ahead, they might not be able to, because there's absolutely no freaking way. There's no way. There's no opportunities, and that's it. And if the person is maybe very very lucky, then maybe that person is going to have a good enough job that might be able to provide some benefits in life at a variable standard of living, maybe mediocre. So I think that is what a lot of Americans leave on the table.
But we're not willing to unlock it. We're not willing to tap into it, right? There's plenty of indicators that show that we're getting better, right? There are more young people who are willing to adopt or even consider a conservative point of view in addition to a liberal point of view. That means there's more centrists from younger generations. That's an important factor. Rather than having extremists in younger generations, which is what we're used to, we're having centrists in younger generations. Those younger centrists will grow into adults who should be center, but they're a long way from being that now. 12, 14, 18, even if you're a college person
My
with
kids
a
are 13, 15.
even
They're
if you're
centrists.
a college kid with a balanced political perspective, you don't actually have revenue generating capacity to be significant to your society until you're in your 40s. So what happens for the next 25 years while that 25-year-old grows into a 50-year-old, right? So we have a future that could be different. but our near-term future is not going to be different.
I do feel that there are more moderates now than people think. We cannot necessarily consider that, oh, well, it's only like, well, we need to wait until like all young people like kind of like become like 40-year-olds. Like, technically, other people can adopt moderate ideas as well. And I think other people can be more centrist too, because at the end of the day, yes, there's a two-party system for sure. However, you still have a choice. And actually having the choice of, well, I am going to go with the person who makes sense the most right now, even if I voted the other way around before, right? Because at the end of the day, there are good ideas. I think there are good ideas on both sides. It's not like, well, if I'm a conservative, everything on the left is bad. That's the way it works right now, right? Like if a Dem says something, that's it. Like that, it's wrong automatically. I reject it. I don't care. And then vice versa. I think people need to have honest conversations about ideas, and I think that needs to be done openly. I think the YouTube channel Jubilee is trying to do that, but at this minute, things are, I think both sides are pretty extreme. And something, I do agree, things need to settle down a little bit, and that might take time. But that is exactly why I think it's very important to challenge ourselves to have a more moderate point of view instead of, well, I'm either a Democrat or I'm either a Republican, and there's no in between, because that can lead to very dangerous choices. And I think that's what we're looking at right now.
I gotta give him something for
Something positive? You want to end on a good note?
Give me a good note and give me like a I want and let's circle back to the beginning at the end of the ways in which they can learn from you and utilize their skill set to improve the quality of their lives. So let's go macro and then micro hope. you're on.
So
oh my God.
The macro hope, right? The thing that I'm optimistic about is that we're waking up to this reality now.
Okay.
We were blind to it before COVID, 2015, in the heart of the global war on terror. We were still blind, very blind to the realities of the world that we lived in, very blind to the stack that we were standing in because we were still distracted. Well, now the lights are on, the nightclub is over, and you see what they really look like. And you're kind of like, well, right? Well, I had a little bit too much to drink, and my fly is down, and I'm going home with an ugly chick. I see it for what it is now. And now I get to choose, do I commit to this path or do I change my decisions? Right? That's where we are as a country.
Not just unattractive. She has like herpes, simplex 5000, anal warts, all kinds of things.
I don't have to commit to this.
That's an unattractive girl. Okay, gotcha.
You don't have to go all in. You still have some time to think about it. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
So that's part of the benefit. We can make that change. We have seen it for what it is.
Okay.
That I see as a very optimistic thing. I also think it's an optimistic thing that we are entering into what I call the age of intelligence. We are leaving the age of information. The age of information was the last 15 or so years, where it was all about get more information, get more data, more data, more data, more data. Now we realize not all data is equal, not all data is useful, not all data is even true. So now we're trying to find a way to synthesize the data that we collect, whether that is AI or self-improvement or performance improvement, whatever it might be. We're all trying to invest in our own knowledge base, meaning our capacity to pull meaningful information from all of the other information. Another way of saying the signal from the noise. There's lots of indicators that show reasons to be optimistic.
Okay.
But we have to turn this ship
Just
around.
before it gets better. I understand that.
Yeah.
And dark is before the dawn.
Yeah. So I do agree. We're definitely at that point where we kind of stopped collecting information because we have a lot of information available, right? We can literally watch. I could react to any freaking content, like anything. I could literally react to anything. I'm not going to react to every single video I interact with on the platform because that would not make sense. Because again, I only have so many hours a week, right? The videos got to be edited, the clips need to be made, that sort of thing. So obviously I have limitations on that front. So, and then also with the average person, you can only watch so many videos a day. So if you have the choice to choose, you're going to choose between content creators or podcast hosts or whatever, because it's not like you only had like the 4 or 5 things like back in the day, the handful of thought leaders of a certain field, and then you went to that person all the time, and that was it. I think things are significantly more decentralized on the internet, but that is the very reason why we're having problems, right? Because who do you believe, right? Is this misinformation? Is it not? You're not sure. And since the information is widely available to everyone, it's kind of hard to decipher what's true and what's not true. And I think AI is going to change that a lot because, if you think about it, most AIs have a research feature, and it's actually fairly easy to fact check things now. Whereas before, if a politician lied, maybe there was no way for you to find that out, or maybe you only really found out much later, like years later. So I think that has gone as well.
Kind of concept, and it's just like dusk right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not something that we need to be fatalistic about. We're still America. We're still the only country in the world that was built on our own backs of innovation and independence. We still have all the streaks of Americans that run through our blood. We may forget that we're as strong and as rich and as powerful as we are because we get distracted by other bullshit, but we're still strong and rich and powerful inside, right? Everybody else is still copying us. We're still the ones that know the playbook best, which means that if we make a change, they have no idea that change just happened. They have to see it from the outside. We have a lot to be optimistic and a lot to be proud of. We just have to be willing to exercise a different move. We have to be willing to accept some old systems have to break, some new systems have to be built.
Yeah, I feel that is very true. So something that has become a mantra for me is that, and you can really see it. So I've been doing media buying, digital marketing for the past 8 years. And more often than not, what happens is that you see that there's a delay in information, even though the information is available. But it takes a lot of the IPs that are coming out of the US, whether it's AI or in my field, and e-commerce, information products, more often than not, these ideas eventually land in other countries, whether we're talking about Europe or Asia or somewhere else. This is sort of shifting now because there's an influx of innovative ideas coming from China. And it's landing in countries in Southeast Asia, right? But it's also going to the US and Europe, right? So now China has started to take over some of that, not entirely, some of it. So I feel it is very true that this is the case. However, it's fully at risk right now. And the moment people feel that American ideas are not valid anymore, if people feel things are not really working out in the States anymore, the way I'm looking at it, a lot of the ideas are going to get rejected. And a lot of the new ideas, especially the ones that have like zero data on them. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Can it be reversed? Sure, it can be reversed for sure, but it's going to take a tremendous amount of effort and sacrifice, and there's no guarantee that it's going to work out. So yeah, there's a lot to consider here for sure.
We have to understand we've got to make different choices between convenience and security if we want long-term security. If what we want is short-term convenience more than long-term security, we're going to be in that pain palace for a long time.
Okay, this is pretty much the end of the video. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below, and yeah, let's have a chat about all this. And yeah, if you like this video, please also give it a big thumbs up. It's going to really help me out. And also subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, I'll see you around.